Just between us. Hey. Just between us. Hey.
Whoa! I'm Allison Raskin. I'm a writer, mental health advocate, and I have receding gums.
Hey, I'm Gabe Dunn. I'm a writer, bisexual icon, wink, and hopefully I don't have a receding hairline.
But you did have receding gums, right? And
Yeah,
then you have to get
surgery.
surgery, yeah.
I just talked to a girl on Hinge about this. I swear to God.
How did that come up?
She mentioned something about it, and then I said something about, oh yeah, I had that surgery, and then we've mostly just talked about receding gums for like a little bit. Where's like the conversation with this person? It was like, well, one person, their parents are apparently very famous in pickleball, is what they told me.
Oh, wow. You got to date them for my dad's sake.
I know, I guess so. Oh, yeah. So they said, why the re-up with Invisalign? My teeth are hitting my upper gums and they're not doing so well. And I said, I had grafts. It's a whole thing. And then I said, the 2008 recession. No, babe. The 2015 recession of my gums.
And have you met this person in person yet?
Absolutely have not. No, they have left me on red. So here we go.
Yeah, I think that my new dentist was trying to scam me, so I got to get another dentist.
Well, if are they trying to do surgery on your gums?
No, I've known for years that I have a gum issue.
It's a whole thing.
And I have to use a soft toothbrush. I don't think my gums are ready for surgery, but this guy was trying to get me to get fill pre-cavities. So tooths that don't even have a cavity yet. Scam. And so I asked my uncle about that.
Yeah.
Not me. I don't talk to my uncle. My dad asked my uncle about that. And then he was asking if it was a sealant. A sealant, which is real.
Yeah.
Or if it was like actually filling a pre-cavity. And when I went back, I said, is it a sealant? And they went, no. And I went, you're scamming me.
Yeah.
No, I didn't. Can you imagine if I said that?
I would have loved if you did that.
No, I went, oh, I'll think about it. Thank you so much.
Yep. I do the same thing. The human body is incredible. They took the skin from the top of my mouth to fix my gums.
Yeah.
So the worst part wasn't really the gums. The worst part was the stitches on the top of my mouth.
That seems very painful.
Yeah, it was wild. But then I had this like bloody like stitches mouth thing. And it also made my lips look really like I had gotten filler in them. Like it looked like I got punched in the mouth. And I went to Bret Easton Ellis's Christmas party 2015. And then he ended up asking me a bunch of questions about like being a like feminism or something, but I was talking to him with like literally like a stitches mouth. Like,
oh my God.
It was a weird time. Also, his boyfriend was like much younger than him, and the boyfriend's parents were there too. And I was like, you guys just kind of letting your really young kid date Bret Easton Ellis because he's famous? Yeah. It was very strange.
How did you get invited to that party?
Some porn actors that I was friends with at the time.
Nice. All right.
My lore runs deep, you guys.
And this is Just Between Us, a variety show filled with heartfelt advice,
ridiculous games,
and brutal honesty.
Yeah. I used to be so fun. Now I'm so boring.
You go out all the time, and I feel like you do drugs.
So?
What's boring?
I just don't have like wild story. I haven't had, I guess, a wild story like that in, I don't know, like 9 months. Am I basically dead?
9 months?
Like a year. Am I dead?
All right. We've got a wonderful episode for everyone today.
Barely anything chaotic happens to me
anymore. Isn't that good?
I guess. Maybe my times of fun are over. I'm like 35, turning 36. I'll never have fun again.
So do you feel like you're entering a depressive episode? Or
No, I just feel like I'll never fall in love.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a different thing.
But that's part of like what's fun.
Yeah, falling in love.
I think my times of having fun are over.
Uh-huh.
And I think my times of falling in love are over.
Okay. And what evidence do you have to support those claims?
I don't know. Because it hasn't happened recently.
Okay, we'll talk about that off mic a bit more. But
Well, our guest today is Todd Barrett, who we're going to be talking all about his book, How to Love Someone Without Losing Your Mind. Good luck, Todd. Get in here, Todd.
And later, we'll be discussing what counts as art. Are you excited for that discussion?
I truly am, actually.
Really? I didn't know. I didn't know how it would go over.
With me?
Well, just like if that was an interesting topic or not.
I think it's deeply interesting. People have been talking about it for decades.
I'm
We'll solve it today on
I'm
this
right on the
show.
pulse.
Yeah.
But first, we have got to answer a listener's question. And you know what that means? Hit it! International question. International question. International question. Anonymous, Colorado. She, her pronouns. Hi, Allison, Gabe, and Melissa. TDLR. How do you tell a friend that the way they talk to you is weirdly therapy speak and exhausting?
Ugh.
For context, one of my best friends of almost 15 years is now somewhat insufferable in normal conversation.
Good. Cut him off.
We're both in our late 20s and have been through a lot together, including 2 years of not being friends during the pandemic and reconciling about a year and a half ago.
What was that fight about?
They don't get into it.
Yeah, I gotta cut him loose.
We're both in therapy for different things. Me for my emetophobia/OCD, her for depression/anxiety and family issues. And she's very proud that she's been in therapy for a decade. Over time, she's incorporated more and more therapy speak in everyday life and conversations. She's very into asking people's capacity to have a discussion about any given topic. Generally
Sorry, I that is a good thing to do. That is a good thing to do.
Generally believing that everyone else in the world should be in therapy, and has had much more disdain for small talk over the years, favoring deep personal conversations instead with everyone around her.
Oh my God.
As a very introverted and reserved person myself, this isn't how I am, but I chalked my annoyance with this up to a personality quirk that is part of the package of this friendship and let it go. In the last year or so, though, this has only gotten more pronounced. For example, if I let her know that it's a stressful week at work, the conversation doesn't end there. There's always more pushing for her to specifically hear what I'm doing to, quote, make sure I'm taking care of myself and have a plan to, quote, fill my own bucket. On the other hand,
oh my God. Okay. Sometimes people like these people. Like sometimes people really do. I'm so deeply uncomfortable. I don't know why, but I am like so deeply uncomfortable. Well, we know that I have problems with intimacy, but like, leave me alone. Just leave me alone.
It's funny that you're my friend.
I know. This is what you're like. You're very caring and very like, you're doing it really, though. This person seems to be doing it to just like seem a certain way.
Well, I hope I don't speak in like
no, you'd
platitudes.
Fill your bucket.
Yeah.
You would never. You would absolutely no. You would never.
On the other hand, if she's going through something, she'll very directly ask for me to say certain things to reassure her. Like, I just need to hear that you're proud of me. I'm sorry. I can't imagine asking a friend to do that.
But people are friends in different ways.
That's
but
true,
I will
that's
just
true.
say.
We're being very judgmental and we're going to rein it back. And then we're going to come back.
No, I'm.
Okay. If these were one-off or infrequent occurrences, it wouldn't be an issue. We all have days we need a little more support. However, this is now how every conversation goes, and it's exhausting. I don't want to offend her because I know this is sensitive and she's very vocally pro-therapy, but I also don't want all conversations to feel so serious. Any thoughts on how I let her know that I don't want our chats to feel like therapy sessions without sounding anti-therapy? Also, just want to let you all know that I've been a fan since the BuzzFeed days, and it's been so great to follow along as the channel has evolved and grown. Love the pod, the couch show, and the HCU, Hypothetical Cinematic Universe.
You know what? Turn it back on her. Be like, you know what? You know what would help me fill my bucket actually is if we kept our conversations light and like my capacity for deep conversation is actually at a maximum right now. And the self-care that would help me not be triggered is if we could just share memes. Do it. Turn it back on her.
The thing I feel like your friend isn't understanding is that like life should not feel like therapy. Therapy is like a specific thing that you do with a mental health professional who is licensed and capable. And the relationship that you have with your therapist should be unlike any other relationship that you have. So
Yes.
I think saying to her like, hey, like I just want to talk to you as my friend isn't anti-therapy because she should not be treating you like she's your therapist, nor should you be treating her like you're her therapist. That's actually like not a like healthy dynamic in the first place.
Yeah. So I think just be like, hey, unless I specifically say that I'm not taking care of myself, like whatever, like it's hard because you can't talk to someone like that. How do you talk to this person? That's why I'm saying you have to use her own language against her. because I don't know how you talk to this person.
I think you can be like, look, sometimes I feel like I feel like you go into this sort of like therapist role with me, and I would rather like you just be my friend.
Let me vent.
Yeah, like
I don't
if-
need a solution.
Yeah, like I'm just like I miss when we felt more like friends rather than like that everything was through the lens of what we've learned in therapy.
She's not going to like that.
But I also feel like you can let this friend go.
Totally.
That's sort of
Totally.
where I'm at with this is like, because here's the thing. This is like a perfect example of like, is the therapy working or not? Right?
Yeah.
Because if she is so self-aware and she has learned so much and she has all these great coping skills and tools and the way of looking at the world, then if you say to her, what we just talked about, if you say like, hey, I sometimes feel like you kind of like fall into this like therapist role when I just really want you to show up as my friend. I want us to have fun together. I don't want everything to always be like so heavy. And then she goes, how dare you? That sort of proves that she hasn't learned anything in her therapy and that she doesn't understand how to respect another person's opinion and how to not get offended at someone trying to have a productive conversation about a relationship.
Yeah. It's a one size fits all, right? Oh, everyone should go to therapy. Okay, what therapy?
Yeah.
With who?
And so I think that like, I think it's good to have a conversation where you express those things. And then if she does not receive those things well, then I think it's time to maybe to veer away from the friendship or to end the friendship.
I mean, people are coming into friendships with different things. Like just because she needs these conversations to be happening doesn't mean you do. So the idea that like, oh, this is what friendship is or whatever, that's what friendship is to her. You're not a worse person. You're not a less deep person. You're not a less introspective person because you're like, I just want to like giggle, you know? Like, I think like there is this push for people to speak in this certain way. And it is interesting to me, the sort of trends of speaking, the ways of speaking that's where we go through sort of trends where like, for example, like trigger is a legitimate thing. Then it got used kind of willy-nilly. Then it got turned on back on people who are actually triggered in a mocking way.
Mhm.
Then now it's sort of fallen out of fashion. And I think we risk, like you said, you shouldn't have a therapy relationship with anyone other than your therapist. And like the colloquial use of this stuff, the ubiquitous use of it gets co-opted and then loses its meaning.
Mhm.
And so you can't let it be turned into a manipulative way to turn a relationship into what the other person wants. She wants your friendship to look this certain way. And she thinks, well, if it's this way in therapy, then it must be this, like, this is good in real life. But like sometimes you just, not everything has to be a learning experience or like a taking care of yourself experience. Sometimes it's just, you just go do some fun stuff with your friends.
And also like as people change, we're allowed to not like those changes.
Hell yeah.
Right? Like that's the whole thing is like,
Right,
I
if
want
you're
you to
not
change. I want
comfortable-
you to become who you are, but like you might become someone I'm no longer compatible with to be friends with. And that
Right.
doesn't make you a bad person. That doesn't make me a bad person. But if we met now, we would not be friends.
Yeah.
And so like I can't extend this much energy into this friendship anymore because
Right.
it no longer makes sense to me.
There's someone for whom that's her way of doing stuff is perfect. They
Right.
love it. They want to do that. That's what they're like.
They're always looking for their buckets to be filled.
Yeah, incredible. Throw some crabs in the bucket. I don't know. Whatever. Filled with what? This is what's so wild to me is that I've been like looking at a lot of different stuff online. Okay, that's
Very vague.
But
Very
whatever.
vague.
Like I'm looking at like language and like stuff like that. Especially we had etymology nerd on things like that. I'm always looking at like repetitions of words and like clocking them, and it's very like funny. Like what gets it allows you to be in group. So if you don't relate to that way of speaking, you don't need to be in that group.
Yeah, you don't need to be a close friend.
Yeah,
You know, we can pull back a bit from the friendship
yeah,
if we're not ready to end it.
yeah.
Hopefully that was helpful. If you want to submit your international question, you can send it to justbetweenuspod@gmail.com. That's justbetweenuspod@gmail.com.
Up next, we got an exciting interview with our highly esteemed guest, Todd Barrett. So stay tuned.